Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Fish Tank. And after last week's show I got a bit of feedback, people saying, very unprofessional, not too happy with it, so I've got a professional in this week to sit with me. Here we go. The ITV Digital Monkey, now advertised as PG Tips with Johnny Vegas. He's going to be watching over me, make sure everything goes alright. Just pop him in the background here. But, look, monkey! As Johnny Vegas would say. What a double pairing, A big, furry, disgusting animal and monkey. Just a bit of fun, yeah. I'm not having a go at Johnny Vegas or anything. By the way, this week's apology must go to the Rotherham Roosters Rugby League team. I said I was going to mention them in last week's episode. I didn't, but they had a cup final last week and they won the cup final, so well done to the Rotherham Roosters. I think the cup final was against the Hoyland Hens, something like that, and I believe they play in the South Yorkshire Farmyard League, where they are the best poultry rugby team by quite a long distance. Anyway, this week's been taken up with a lot of campaigning, because I want to run for the job as treasurer in the hall that I live in. It's quite a nice hall because it's a nice safe environment that I live in and everything, and I want to live here next year as well. I can trust the people I live with, and by being treasurer I can give a little back to them and everything, that kind of thing. But there are a few stipulations within the hall that I live in. They say you're not allowed to put posters up just sort of anywhere, you can't take down other people's posters. So what I did very cleverly, I got my posters, I put them up on top of other people's posters, so I wasn't taking anyone's down, but likewise, they didn't have as much, time with their posters and little free space and stuff like that. Also, by the way, another thing I did, I had to do a little speech to convince people to vote Chris for treasurer, and I stood up. The speech didn't go too well, to be honest, because I stood up and I said something along the lines of, "Hello, I want to be your next treasurer. I hope you will all vote for me in next week's election." Yeah, I meant to say election, said erection instead. I was just so embarrassed. Yeah, but never mind. Also, aside from that, I had to go in. I had to do a big speech. I had to wear my suit and everything. But how hard is it nowadays to try and buy a shirt for yourself? Yeah, because the only size that they measure is your neck size. But my neck's sort of like a fairly average size, something like that. And I don't measure how thick my neck is, do I? Alright, fair enough, Saddam Hussein had his neck measured recently, but that's for a different purpose. I'm not going to get hung, am I, or anything? And, what if you've got a particularly thick neck, but like a small body and small arms and stuff like that? I mean, how does your neck size, equate to your actual body size? I think that's rather bizarre. But I've really enjoyed the campaign anyway, it's been very good, and I get the results tonight, hopefully it'll be a successful result and I'll win. But we'll just have to wait and see. Also, what else can I talk about? Food. I had some food today. I had Korean meatballs. They were definitely the dog's bollocks. Enjoyed those quite a bit. An unusual taste. I'm not sure really what it was, but so a lot of time's been done with my campaign and stuff like that. I've really enjoyed it. So anyway, we go to that time of the show where I do my quotation. It once again is from the man himself, Mr. Big Ron Atkinson, who did the first one as well, by the way, if you remember. He says, "I wouldn't say David Ginola is the best left-winger in the Premiership, but there are none better." So, don't want to forget Ron Atkinson, and let's face it, as I've said before, done significantly worse commentary quotes in his time, but I can't help think he could have a point here. I'm not going to say he's the best, but there are none better. He could, David Ginola, actually be tied for first place. We never know. Ron Atkinson could perhaps be making a bit of sense there, but I would suggest that he's probably got it a bit wrong. But you can never be sure, because he might be a bit cleverer than he looks. By the way, also an interesting fact about Ron Atkinson: he doesn't like snakes. I saw that on Room 101 when he was with Paul Merton. Doesn't like snakes. And this week's news headline is from the Nottingham Evening Post. Violence. Judge hits out. So it sounds like the judge is contributing to the violence over in Nottingham. I mean, let's face it, Nottingham's probably a place that does have a fair amount of violence. I mean, if you read the statistics and stuff like that, I mean, statistics can be manipulated to look bad, but it is a bit of a dodgy place to say the least. So that's it. That's all for the show this week. Anyway, I'll leave you with one bit of news I saw earlier on. Apparently there has been a massive superglue spillage on the M1, so if you're travelling home on the M1, there's a massive superglue spillage all over 3 lanes, and apparently police have advised people to stick to the inside lane. So, thank you very much for watching the Fish Tank episode 4. I'll see you next week. Where's my monkey gone? What's happened?